new to intermittent fasting, you need to watch this video because it can be very difficult to figure out what drinks do and don't break a fast when you're first starting out. Unfortunately, it's not as black and white as you might expect. But don't worry, I've got you. I'm going to simplify it so by the end of this video, you will know exactly what you can drink during your fasting window based on your goals. Whether you're doing a 12-hour intermittent fast, 16-8, or alternate day fasting, the same concepts we're going to talk about in this video apply. But to really understand what we can have during our fasting window, we first need to understand what it means to break a fast. Long story short, this basically means you're consuming something that's taking you from a fasted state to a fed state. When we're in a fasted state, our blood sugar should be at baseline and stable. Insulin production is downregulated and autophagy goes up. Our body will be burning through our stored carbohydrates for energy, and once it does that, it's going to shift to using stored fat for energy instead. When we consume something that breaks a fast, insulin goes up to deal with the energy that's going in, and fat burning stops. Now, breaking a fast, this isn't a bad thing. Obviously, we can't spend all of our time in a fasted state. We need to eat eventually. And fasting for longer periods of time doesn't always make it better. However, it's when we think we are fasting, but we're actually consuming something during this window that's taking us out of this fast, that's taking away from the benefits. That's what we want to avoid. Basically, the simplest way to know if a fast is broken is if insulin has gone up. When insulin goes up, we shift over to burning glucose or carbs for energy instead of fat. But here's the thing. While this is a pretty simplistic definition, what we can actually have when we're fasting comes down to our goals. Why are you intermittent fasting to begin with? The most common reasons people intermittent fast usually include for blood sugar regulation and lowering their fasting blood sugar, improving insulin sensitivity and reversing insulin resistance, helping to burn more fat through ketosis, and giving your gut a rest. Autophagy is another common reason. When you fast for longer periods of time, as you would do with an extended fast, this is when autophagy really starts to ramp up. Autophagy is when the damaged cells in your body start to get recycled, and it is really great for healing and preventing disease. Now, don't hear me wrong, you still do get some autophagy during shorter fasts and also when you're exercising, but it really ramps up at around the 36 hours of fasting mark. Now, if autophagy is your main goal, if you are fasting to heal a disease, if you're fasting for longevity, then yes, as we discussed before, anything you consume during your fasting window that increases your insulin, that will break your fast. If your goal is to give your digestive system a break, if you're focused on gut healing, then anything you consume that stimulates digestion, that will break your fast. But if your main goals are weight loss, blood sugar regulation, or improved insulin sensitivity, and this is the case for most people who get started with intermittent fasting, then you do have a little bit more wiggle room with what you can consume. You can get away with, if you will, drinks that do contain some calories as long as they don't trigger insulin. So with all of this in mind, let's get into the 5 controversial drinks that won't break your fast. Number 1 is apple cider vinegar. Now this is a great one because a lot of people find that apple cider vinegar, diluted in water of course, actually helps to suppress cravings. And this is a barrier for a lot of people when they're first starting out with intermittent fasting. But beyond that, and this is especially true for people who are just starting out with intermittent fasting and who have some level of insulin resistance, they may find that their blood sugar levels are elevated during their fast, which is the opposite of what should be happening. Apple cider vinegar can help with this. It can help to bring your blood sugar levels down because it allows the cells in your body to take the sugar from your bloodstream in more easily. Over time, as your insulin sensitivity improves, and this will happen after you've been practicing intermittent fasting for a while, you will find that your blood sugar levels are normal during your fast. But apple cider vinegar can be a great tool when you're first getting started. Now, I've done many videos on my channel on apple cider vinegar in the past, but I haven't done one for a couple of years, so let me know if you want an updated one. I can do one on insulin resistance specifically and apple cider vinegar, or on weight loss, PCOS, anything like that. Let me know down below if you'd like an updated one, and I can do that soon. But moving on, drink number 2 is bulletproof coffee. Now, most people know that black coffee without anything added is absolutely fine for any type of fasting, but what about bulletproof coffee? This will depend on how much and what is in your bulletproof coffee. For example, if you add a small amount of MCT oil, this isn't going to break your fast. MCT oil is entirely fat. And even better is that it's a type of fat that is processed differently by the body than other types of fat are. By this, I mean it bypasses regular digestion and it goes straight to the liver, where it's easily converted into ketones for quick energy. Now, of course, a lot of the benefits of fasting come from this ketone production, so MCT oil is only going to enhance this. MCT oil can also make fasting easier, again, when you're first starting out, because it will help you shift into that fat burning state a bit quicker. Now, butter is the second most common ingredient that is in bulletproof coffee, and it is, again, almost entirely fat. It does have trace amounts of protein in it, but not enough to stimulate insulin. So a bulletproof coffee with a tablespoon of MCT oil and a little bit of butter in it, absolutely not going to break your fast. It's not going to stimulate insulin, and it's going to help you if your goals are blood sugar regulation and weight loss. But of course, some people hear that it doesn't break a fast and they go wild. If you drink several cups of it during your fasting window, if you're adding in half a stick of butter, then that is where things get a little bit tricky. The cons might start to outweigh the pros. Bulletproof coffee is meant to replace a meal. It's meant to be drank in the morning and help you to push your first true meal until later in the day. If it's not doing that for you, then it's not really benefiting you. Number 3 is electrolytes. Electrolytes are a great option when you're fasting, and I actually almost always recommend adding some electrolytes to your water. This is because when you're fasting, and especially when you're fasting for extended periods of time, your body retains less water, and with this loss of water, it also retains fewer electrolytes. Usually you're replenishing your electrolytes to a degree through your food, but of course when you're fasting, you're not eating anything. You end up leaving them depleted. And this is why people can experience dizziness or headaches when they first start intermittent fasting. It's usually due to a drop in sodium. Drinking water with added electrolytes helps replenish these vital nutrients, maintaining your energy levels and preventing dehydration. Electrolytes like sodium, potassium, and magnesium are critical for muscle function, nerve function, and overall hydration. But you have to be careful which electrolyte powder you use because a lot of them, they contain added sugar, they contain added carbohydrates, sometimes they actually have artificial sweeteners in them as well. And all of these things will break your fast. I will link to some of my favorite electrolyte supplements in the description box down below. Next up, at number 4, we have 0-calorie drinks. Now, whenever I recommend apple cider vinegar, I get at least a few comments asking for an alternative because, let's be honest, it is a pretty strong taste. Personally, I don't mind it, but I do know that it's not everyone's cup of tea. And my recommendation for anyone who is looking for a similar drink that has the same benefits for improving insulin sensitivity, for stabilizing blood sugar during your fasting window, would be to drink Good Idea. Good Idea drinks contain a blend of amino acids and chromium, which have been shown to reduce blood sugar spikes and help to keep blood sugar levels stable. They have 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 artificial ingredients, they're lightly carbonated, and they taste delicious. And of course, most importantly, they won't break your fast. And like I said earlier in the video with apple cider vinegar, it can help to bring your blood sugar levels down during your fast if they're slightly elevated. My current favorite is the black currant, but honestly, there hasn't been a flavor that I don't like. Now, if you're in the US, they are available in a few select stores. I believe they have a stockist list on their website, or you can also shop online. And the benefit of shopping online is that you can use my promo code to save 15% off your order. Head to healthcoachkait.com/good idea to check them out. Now, what about other 0-calorie drinks, you might be asking? Well, there aren't any others that can benefit you in the same way as apple cider vinegar and Good Idea that I'm aware of. There are some that can be all right if you just like the taste. Diet sodas being the obvious one that I know a lot of people are going to ask about. And these are definitely controversial when it comes to breaking a fast. Some studies have shown that the artificial sweeteners in these sodas does increase insulin even without increasing blood sugar, but then in other studies, it has no effect. In general, I tend to stay on the cautious side and say just to avoid them if you can. There are so many options available on the market that don't have artificial sweeteners, so opt for those instead. And finally, at number 5, we have bone broth. So far in this video, we haven't talked about any drinks that contain a significant amount of protein, but bone broth is rich in protein, and therefore, now technically bone broth can stimulate insulin a bit, and therefore it might not be ideal if autophagy is your main goal. And again, in terms of gut health, it's a bit controversial because it does stimulate digestion. However, it has been shown that bone broth is very beneficial for overall gut health, that it can help with gut healing. And when it comes to weight loss, to blood sugar, to insulin resistance, I really do think that the pros outweigh the cons. I've had so many clients who are struggling with intermittent fasting that added bone broth into their fasting window and found it to be a million times easier. It helped them to stick to their fasting window a lot easier, and they were still able to progress to their goals. To wrap up, the key to understanding what you can have during your fasting window really comes down to what your goals are. You want to choose a drink that aligns with them. Let me know in the comment section down below what you drink when you're fasting. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.